We have had an absolutely cracking start to match week 6. Back-to-back games which ended with a 3-2 scoreline. And now it is time for Mumbai City. It is their second home game on the trot. And it comes against the newcomers, Punjab. And they need to dust themselves off. But there is a lot of dust in there. A 5-1 hammering at the Marina Arena needs to be put to bed. And in football, the only way to do it is play the next game. But that next game is at the home of the league champions. Welcome to Let's Football. It's me and the wonderfully named Mr. Macefield. How are you?
I thought you were going to say wonderfully named Plaster Dar.
Never named myself.
Everything's good, Puller, and as you can see from the points table, things are very, very good for Mohun Bagan Supergiant. That win yesterday puts them back to the top of the table, 12 points. But it's Punjab tonight who need to get all 3 points if possible. Winless so far, they have picked up a couple of points, but they do need to show their mettle and their worth from now.
Hopefully a different approach as well, just in terms of taking on the mighty Mumbai City. And as usual, we ask the fans who will score for the Blues. Changte, Stewart or Pereira Diaz? Changte will not count, he's not starting. Stewart, Pereira Diaz, that's close.
Well, Pereira Diaz is the one, though, isn't he? I mean, what was it? He scored in the opening couple of games anyway, so he's on fire and he knows where the back of the net is. I'd definitely opt for him.
Changte not playing, and now there seems to be a really good competition. Bipin, Vikram, Changte. Vikram has really got himself into the discussion.
Well, he talks about it in a little while in the interview, Des. He was mentioning about who he can rotate and what he's looking at. Of course, don't forget Lachempa suspended, so he's out now as comes in. Griffiths comes straight back in there and he'll go and play as a holding midfield player. Vikram will start on the right and Bipin gets his chance. So it is Changte that misses out today.
Well, let's hear from Des Buckingham and Rostin Griffiths.
Tonight should be a tough game, Des, against a side that's looking to bounce back after their disappointing performance last time out. How have you prepared for tonight's game?
As well as we can. We've done everything we can to try and prepare the players. And the assistant coach Hiroshi Miyazawa and myself flew to watch the game in Chennai just to try and make sure we could see a little bit more than the TV gives us in terms of preparation for tonight. And then the players have done as much as they can in what has been a very short turnaround for both teams to try and prepare as well as we can to put on the best performance. So we've done that, and now it's about making sure that we start the game as well as we can.
Still no Van Neef, Lachempa suspended, Al-Kayati picked up that groin. Do these injuries and worries, suspensions worry you at all?
Yeah, I think it's the first time since I've been here at the club that in terms of suspensions, certainly, it's normally injuries, but you know, we can moan or we can adjust and we have to find different ways. We found different ways of playing last year that got us results, and we need to find different ways at this early part of the season to make sure we can continue doing what we're doing. And you know, when we've got people like Rostin Griffiths who can play in two positions, so he'll start at 6 tonight and it allows Apoya further forwards. And you know, you've got 3 wingers in Vikram, Bipin and Changte where you can rotate and still get equal quality out of them. We've got the flexibility to move, but it's not something I want to do too often this season.
So how important is tonight then? Because it's the only league game that you play in the month, the calendar month of November, because of the international calendar. And we don't see you in action till the 8th of December then in the league. So a big one.
Yeah, I mean, we showed this time last year, this was the game when we were away to Chennai In. Oh, sorry, this was the game we played here at ATK Mohun Bagan, and if we can replicate that performance, I said we're in exactly the same position in the table that we were in terms of points, goals scored, goals against, that we were this time last year. And it was from this moment that we really kicked on. So it's important that we do that. But again, in between this game and our next ISL game, we have 2 Champions League games that will keep us ticking over anyway.
Thanks ever so much for your time, Des. It's good to see you back in black.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Hi, Rustin. Great to see you here today. How frustrating was it for you to sit out the last game, as you've been in really, really good form this season?
Yeah, really frustrating. Obviously, the AIF made their decision to leave me out for one game, which was disappointing. But yeah, I mean, disappointing for the team really, because they played so well for 90 minutes, keeping the game 0-0, and then got the goal that we deserved, and then to concede so late on in the game. Boys obviously come away disappointed, but looking to bounce back. We didn't really get the chance to really do what we wanted to do last week. So hopefully get that done this week.
So how has the mood been in the camp this week? You know that they got hammered last time out against Chennai, and you know, how's everybody gone about their business this week?
Yeah, big responsibility for the staff and the senior players in our team to really get behind everyone and reignite everyone a little bit, because obviously a little bit flat after not getting the win last week, especially at home. But last week we had a really strong game plan to take to Hyderabad and really take the game to them. We didn't get to do that, obviously, because the game changed throughout. So this week we're hoping to do the same thing, really take it to them, stick it to them in the first half, because obviously we know they're wounded. But we've watched their games. They're a difficult team. They make it defensively very, very solid. And, but I think if we do what we should do, we're confident enough we should get the result.
You mentioned that against Punjab, but how have you found the difference in the teams this season as well? Is it tougher than last year?
Yeah, I mean, definitely teams have recruited well. Everyone's got a better squad first and foremost. But for us, we won the league last year. So kind of feels like everyone that plays against us really goes the extra mile, runs that extra yard, potentially sits a little bit more deeper as well, and been defensively more solid. So that's up to us to break that down. All the best teams in the world, we see Man City's going back to back. Teams try to sit behind the ball against them, and they have to find different ways to score goals. So obviously on top of that, we've had the ACL campaign where we've done a lot of travel. So it's been a balancing act for the club. But coming to December, we've got a lot of games to look forward to in the league, and hopefully we can get on a run.
Good to see you back, Royston. All the best for tonight, pal.
Cheers, no problem. Thanks.
It's part of the learning curve, Mace. This playing so many games, going away in the Asian Champions League, coming back home, waiting for the next league game. This is all part of a growing league.
Yes, it is. Very, very much so. And again, it's a balancing act as well, and how you have to handle that. And you need players like Royston Griffiths that is in it and that has been around it and understands it, because that experience he has, he'll be able to pass on to the younger Indian players and help them along as well. So he understands it, he gets it, because he's been there, done it, seen it, worn the t-shirt before. But now it's up to these younger players as well to embrace that, because it is a journey, and it's a very, very important one for football in India. It's not an overnight fix. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a couple of years, a couple of seasons, and then once you get into that rhythm, the league flourishes.
And of course, Royston Griffiths playing at 6 means, as Des Buckingham put it, Apuya pushed slightly forward. It also means a chance for him to impress us a lot more. This is the red card. We'll come back to Apuya in a bit.
Yep. I have my say. You even phoned me up on my day off to get my thoughts on it. So I'm not saying anymore. I don't think it's a red card. It's as simple as that. I think he's going away from goal. It's a little bit rash, a little bit reckless. You know that, the way that he's gone about it. But you can see Des there as well. The ball went at a 30-degree angle. You have a look from this angle here. See, we're lucky. The officials don't get this. He's moving away, which means Tiri's there. Metab's there. It's a little bit of a rash lunge. It is. He catches him and takes him out. But at the end of the day, I personally do not think that is a red card. I think it should have been a yellow. Slap on the wrist. Carry on.
What about the consistency, though? Because if that was red, then last night was also a red. At least we have 2 red cards, and the explanation is the same.
Everybody's different. I mean, the referees are looked at, and everybody keeps an eye on them as well. We know Trevor Kell's trying to work incredibly hard behind the scenes to improve them. Now I can tell you that the standard and the percentage of big game decisions is up. It's already up from last season. It's up to about 82-85%, which is a big thing. So the officials are getting better year on year.
Nawaz had a bit of a sketchy start to the season, and now, of course, he's coming back between the sticks. But Apuya, part of the probables for Igor Stimac. Good news?
It is good news. Again, someone that can play multiple positions. He can play as a holder. We saw that in the last game. But in saying that, I mean, his numbers and his stats were absolutely off the planet when you turn around and have a look at how much work rate and how much distance he covered in the last game when they were down to 10 men. I mean, let's not forget Lachempa got sent off in the 7th minute. And I tell you, every Mumbai player out there put a stint and a shift in with their work rate. And Apuya was up there with big numbers.
They need the big numbers, especially the defensive side as well. Not a single clean sheet yet. And that probably for Des Buckingham might be an issue. He is more honest in black, so we want him to wear black a lot more. The way he answered the questions, fantastic. Also, Des Buckingham's side have scored 99 goals in the ISL, 1 more, and he hits the 100 mark, as many as Lopera and Manolo Marquez.
That's correct, but it's the touches in the opponent's box. Keep an eye on that one. 4 games, 89 entries, right? And the touches in the box. Because when you see numbers of other clubs, they're not as high. So they are dynamic. They do go forwards. They do look to get into that final third. And when they get in there, they do get into the box and cause problems as well.
And they have to cause problems. And especially because of the lack of certain attacking options. Greg Stewart not firing, that meant that Greg Stewart and El Kayati both played in the previous game. What is, however, the logic behind El Kayati knowing the risk of injury that he always carries?
It's a tough one. It's because he's got ability and talent, and you can see that from here when he played last season. You know, I mean, he scored a hat-trick as well in a game. He was absolutely outstanding. But the balance, and it's a fine balance. And if you remember, before the last game, Des came out and said he hasn't been ready to start yet. We've been taking a little bit more time with him to bring him on and develop. So they've nurtured him and they've tried to nurse him along before actually giving him that start. But sometimes players do get injury problems. They do get injury prone, and they're always going to pick up these little niggles and knocks. And unfortunately, Kayati's just having that little bit of a spell at the moment in his career where it's happening to him. It's definitely a groin. I mean, I saw it as soon as it happened. He started trying to stretch it out. And if that's a tweak, he could be out for 2 to 4 weeks at least. So we're hoping that that's all it is and not a hernia or something like that. Hopefully it's just a tweak.
Maybe Greg Stewart finally getting an assist, or at least something important during their own goal that Mumbai City scored in the previous game. But they will need a lot more from him. This could be the game where he starts firing again.
Got to. He's got to, because, you know, there's definitely pressure for places.
These are the Punjab results, and we spoke, especially during that 1-0 and the 1-1 and the 0-0, that, okay, they look decent. They're not getting hammered, and then Chennaiyin happens.
It was coming, wasn't it, with Chennaiyin, because they've turned their season around with that result. I spoke to Owen Coyle after that match, and he was very, very pleased with the way that his side went about their business. Punjab, I mean, you'll hear in a minute, Staikos talks about how they were maybe a little bit too much on the front foot, trying to risk and gamble too much, which is why they got turned over that. He said, but it's all about learning. It's all about learning lessons from games. And he said we were too open in the last game, so I'm sure tonight they will try and keep things tight.
There's the poll for the fans. Punjab FC, can they get their first win tonight? 68% believe that they will. You're laughing it off. Do you give them no chance at all, though, Mace?
You've just got to look at the starting 11s. Look at the starting 11s. Look what's on the field of play initially to start with. And in position for position, and this is not being disrespectful, Mumbai have better players in those positions. You know, so you've got to turn around. If Mumbai win more of the individual battles against their opponents, they will win the game. But Punjab, it's going to be a real tough test for them. I think they're going to try and keep things incredibly tight to start with. They're going to try and flood the middle of the park. Nicol will drop back in there. Ashish will do exactly the same. Maddy Talal's been drawn back in to keep it really tight as well. So Krishnanandan comes back in. Wanmera will drop back in. So there'll be a 4-5-1, really, leaving Luca up front to go and run all on his own. They'll want to keep it tight. They'll deny space to Mumbai, but they've got to be careful, because if Mumbai press and go up high on the field of play and catch them, that's when they can get punished.
Suresh gets a start as well at centre-back alongside Chazes Sayas, experience at Army Red and Churchill Brothers. Well, now let's hear from Staikos Vergetis and Wanmera.
Will we see an overhaul in your tactics and personnel tonight because you're coming up against Mumbai?
It's a totally different game. We have another approach for this game. I believe that our players have understood the way that they have to make defense. To be honest, maybe we were more there in the Chennai game, but it was one of the lessons that we have a better defensive cohesion today.
You've only had one home game so far this season. Do you think that has had an effect on your team's performance?
Of course it affects, but not in a big level, because I believe that nowadays in football it's not so important if you play away or in home. It's not so much important. The players have a lot of information about the opponent teams, and they are more ready to and better prepared to face the difficulties of the games. Of course it affects, but not too much.
Big test, big challenge tonight. Thank you for your time, Staikos.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, a lot has been said of Wanmera. Absolutely bossed the I-League last term, but is there a case of dwelling on the ball for too long?
This is the ISL. You dwell on the ball, you don't get that time. You get it in the I-League, and I've been watching some of the games so far this season. There's a lot more time on the ball when you're playing at that level. When you step up to this, the ISL, it's a total different kettle of fish. The level of players are better. The standard is better. It's more intense than what the I-League is. And I think it will find out certain players. I think Juan Mera has a fantastic touch. He's got great ability and can cause all sorts of problems. But he's got to find that level quickly, and he's got to keep that consistency. If he can keep consistent and start providing balls into the box for Luka Machen or Maddie, who comes in late as well, then they can get a win.
Well, you put me in Simon Grayson's shoes the other night. I'm going to put you in Staikos' shoes. What would your tactics be for Punjab? Not just in this game, but there is no shame in parking the bus and hitting teams on the break. The whole world goes up against you when you play a defensive brand. But what other option do they have? How would you set them up?
Well, you just said exactly what I would do. I would make sure that it was very, very tight and that it was very, very close. And I would ensure that there wasn't space between the lines. I'd probably play either a 5 at the back or a 4 at the back and a 5 in front or a 4 in front. So you keep it tight. You have Luca out there as an option to get out. But everybody has to know their role and their job within that team. So you'd be working methodically on the training pitch with the team shape. So everybody's shape is all exactly the same. Touches in opponent's box, 63. What was it for Mumbai?
A fewer than that.
89. So this is telling you now and getting you to understand that they've got to drop off a little bit more, that they are being a little bit more withdrawn compared with other teams that do move further forwards, and they've played a game more.
They have played a game more. And what does it mean in terms of the lack of pace up front? Yes, Luka Machen, great touch, first time finish is amazing. Wilmar Jordan, when he comes back, we'll talk about him. There's no pace going forward. Who's going to break the line, make that run and score goals?
Well, I thought that was going to be Brandon's role, who obviously isn't starting tonight. I like him. I like seeing him getting behind people. But, you know, it's up to the likes of Maddie to get in beyond them as well and cause all sorts of issues and problems. As you can see, they're under the cosh a lot. With the 5 matches, they've conceded 10 goals already. Okay, albeit 5 of them was in one of the games. Solitary clean sheet will please him, but how do you build on that there? So you can tell from the number of clearances as well that they are very, very busy, that teams are coming at them and going, and they're having to clear the ball a heck of a lot. So, you know, defensively, they're up against it as well. So it's tough when you look at it in numbers like this. It looks worse than it is, because when you watch them play, you wouldn't have thought about those numbers. But when you put the numbers down in front of you and you go, wow, okay, that explains a lot.
You know, we speak about 2 foreign centre-backs that Bengaluru and Chennai in play and how that affects them going forward. This is a Melroy red card. We'll come to that in a second. But is this now a side which needs 2 foreign centre-backs?
Yes, for me, yes. You would definitely put one in. But in saying that, I do like Melroy. I like him as a player. I think he can play. I mean, that is absolute stupidity, what he did. It really, really was. Rash, totally out of control. He'd left the ground. It's dangerous play. That's an absolute leg-breaking challenge. But he needs to learn from that. He won't be doing that again, let me tell you. Because if he does, they won't put him back in the team. You'll leave him out because he becomes a liability. You don't want to go down to 10 players in a game. And that was a very, very silly decision from him personally.
You talk about a story where you were sent off at Turf Moor against Burnley very early on. Just want to get into the mentality of how do you pick yourself up from that? Because the game might change, but the way human reacts to a red card, suspensions, it doesn't change.
No, it doesn't. It hurts. It really, really does hurt. And you just want to get back out there playing as quickly as possible. And sometimes if you've got a midweek game, particularly back in England, you play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, your suspension's over in a week. We didn't have any midweek games. I didn't play for about a month. So it really, really hurt me. And, you know, and it becomes very, very frustrating.
Was it a leg breaker from you though, Mace?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. No. Even the manager came out and defended me afterwards, so it wasn't that bad.
Wow. Tough to believe, but okay. We'll give that to you. So, which one was better? Odisha, Bengaluru, Jamshedpur, Mohun Bagan. Which one did you enjoy more?
I'm not being funny. I enjoyed both games exceptionally well. The same. Bengaluru started like an absolute house on fire, but the comeback from Odisha was brilliant. It really, really was. I think if you look at the actual quality of last night's game with Jamshedpur and Mohun Bagan, I think Mohun Bagan had more control after that first 15-20 minutes. Jamshedpur looked good in that first 20 minutes when they managed to get themselves in front. But I think that Mohun Bagan, they just took their time to get into the game. And when they did, they are the side to beat this year. There's no question about that.
Yes, we all like Scott Cooper, of course, being brave. Wonderful goal from Sanan to kickstart his Indian Super League career. But is this now a case of 2 managers being brave? And we love that. But sometimes you have to be smart and say, okay, 1-0 lead, can we sit on that?
Well, you can't when you're playing someone like Mohun Bagan, because they have the ability to do that, which is completely carve you open. All you do is you move the ball, you drag players into wrong positions, and all of a sudden they're out of position, and bang, you've got a pass from Sal, you've got a pass from Tapper, you've got a pass from whoever. Manveer even gets in on the act, and then you can't stop this, can you? I mean, it's been a while coming, that is. One of those, a little banger from Liston.
Do you need speed in the back line to play that kind of a high line, which possibly Jamshedpur don't have? Of course, El Senio, brilliant. Pratik has been really good. Dinpuya, solid. But no fast defender to track back in case that line is broken.
No, but if you've got someone that can read it with El Senio, then you've got somebody in there who knows the business and understands that position and understands that role. So when you've got someone like that, you can get away without having that pace. They say that, Bobby Moore never had pace. Beckenbauer never had real pace, but they read the game so well that they were always in the right position to cover and defend, and sometimes that's what you need.
We'll just mention that question. What about that?
I just thought it was comical because you can just see him standing there. I mean, he's come a long way, the keeper, and he's just got completely outfoxed. But it's a faint touch. It is a touch, but where was the touch? He's going down in the box then. Was it outside? Was it inside? Again, you're talking about consistency levels. I'm sure that those incidents will be looked at by the management committee, and they will make a decision on that in due time, due course.
Assistant referee made that call first, and the main man in the middle immediately pointed to the spot. But Mumbai City and Punjab tonight, and there are some fantasy assets in there. Pereira Diaz is an obvious one. I have Juan Mera and Roston Griffiths as well.
I can't remember who I've got.
But this is the India leader, pardon me.
He's flying, isn't he? 260 points.
That's incredible. A -1 yesterday, though. But what do you make of that double partnership at the back in Goa colours?
It'll be interesting when they come round to play, if they can keep themselves a clean sheet. There's some numbers there. Jay, I think, has really impressed us so far this season in that left-back position, so it's been good seeing him. Sandish has started well, of course, when he's got a day next to him. He's got that stability. He's got a little rock in there that will keep him in check as well. So it's not a bad backline that Goa have. It's going forwards with the creativity with the likes of a Noah that you need somebody in there and somebody to do something. Look, Pereira Diaz as captain tonight. I think he's my captain as well, so I'm hoping that he gets a couple of goals.
Well, mine was Diego Maurizio. Thank you, Sergio Lobero, for absolutely ruining that week. But hopefully he does come back in a couple of days and scores some. But just in case of your fantasy plans, anything coming up? Do you have a player in mind tonight that you're keeping an eye on?
Pereira Diaz. And Stuart's been quiet as well. So it's about time. I know he's got a lot of people that do pick him. I think that he's due a game. He's due a big game. So I think he might amass a few points tonight as well.
We have done a critique, of course, of Punjab, but any bright spots apart from Juan Mera, someone who's stood out for you? What about Lungdim? He's looked really good at right back.
Yeah, he has. He's looked very good. And you've got Mo Salah, who's gone out injured as well in the left back position. I've really liked him. It's Nitesh that's had to come in and deal with that situation there. But I mean, Melroy's looked okay as well. I like Brandon because he does bomb forwards and get involved. There are bright sparks, but it's how do you make those bright sparks become a light and shine so that they can go out there and get all 3 points and play consistently.
This is where you can watch the game across all these languages. Des Buckingham. Why is he wearing black? Do you want to tell the people?
No. He forgot to put his white shirt in the wash. He did tell me off air quietly.
Even the best managers forget to put their laundry in. Coming up very soon, Mumbai City up against Punjab.